panel podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sherman, and we would like to welcome you to another episode. But for us, customarily, we always take a moment to be grounded and be centered. So just join me in taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Another deep breath in and let go of all the stress that occurred during the day. Let it go on the exhale. Take another deep breath in and feel that breath from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet, and let go of anything that will not serve you. Thank you for joining us. Welcome all. Mitzi, welcome. Marco, welcome. Over to you, Mitzi.
Hi. So I am very excited because today we have a guest, Marco Torres from Marketing Boost. And I have been using Marketing Boost in my business now for a couple of years and absolutely love it. And it has really helped me make some transformations in my business because of how powerful it is. Marco, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, give us a little bit of your background, and then we will dive right into transformations.
Sure, you bet. So, thanks for having me first. I'm thrilled to be here and meet both of you in your show. So, I've been in the travel business since 1993. I've been an entrepreneur since I guess since I was about 12 years old. Started out with a paper route and recently remembered that I had built the largest paper route in my paper had ever seen. They featured me on the front page, and my dad kept that. I was going through his old papers and found uh, the clipping of me on the front page of the newspaper, highlighting that I had built the biggest paper route. I went on to become open restaurants. I had 5 restaurants and a nightclub by the age of 23. I moved to Florida and got into the travel space and eventually launched what I'm proud to operate today. One of my main companies that I love marketing is called Marketing Boost, where we provide and serve business owners around the globe with travel incentives, the wow, surprise, and delight factor that business owners can use to enhance whatever their call to action is. So trying to make that an elevator pitch for you on a little bit of my background.
Awesome. And you also have a podcast as well, correct?
I do. We call it the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast, where we interview business experts, success stories, failure stories, and how they overcame them and got back on the in the black, and or we people with expertise that people can learn from. So yeah, we have a show. We're into our going on 2 years now, interviewing business experts of all kinds to help support our community of entrepreneurs that are always looking for ways to continue to be successful.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, One of the things that we sort of focus in on our podcast, as our name says, is transforming lives. And, we're always looking at sort of how people have transformed their lives, what they have done, and also how they have transformed their businesses. So maybe if you could highlight a little bit of either of those or both of those.
But sure, I can tell you about transforming my life at one point, which has always been, it's a story I don't often like to tell, but it's impactful. And that is, I had been through the entrepreneurial world, operating, as I mentioned, restaurants and nightclub and so on. I moved to Florida and I went to work in the corporate world. And by the year 2000, I was working for a very big travel company, and I by then I was a internet marketing expert. I had started in 1996 learning about email marketing, building websites, HTML. Back in those days, I'm talking about before Google, before Facebook. I was already, with a garage full of servers doing mass email marketing. I guess I was a spammer before they called it spam. But part of the message there is, I've never, don't take no for an answer, always figure out and always be learning, always be educating. I dropped out of college. I did not go to any university for more than a year and a half, and just is not for me. But I've always been a student ever since. It's once I got into the business world, then I realized the why I needed to study and why I needed to learn, and I've never stopped since. It's always been an ongoing, never ending, continuous effort of educating, reading books, watching webinars, learning new softwares, staying relevant, and so on. So, one message I would have to anybody listening and transforming your life is never stop learning. Stay thirsty, as I always say, stay thirsty for knowledge and continue to, you've got to be a reader if you expect to be, successful in life. You've got to be able to fast forward through the learning curve of life, and that can really only be done by reading books, and speeding it through. Even if you're reading the cliff notes, you got to be you got to be spending some time in the books. I went out to make a long story short here. In 2000, I went to a big company and I sold them on that I would be able to transform their internet business. And I did. So I told them I would generate $200 million a year for them if they took my advice. And we did that, and it took me a few years to get there. But we were building a business. I had 4 call centers, 2,000 telemarketers. I'm talking of the days of the internet when people didn't buy online. They picked up the phone. They saw their email campaigns. You drive them to a website. There was no, I mean, there might have been a book online or buy online, but nobody ever did. Nobody trusted the internet in the early days. It was about having a phone number, and people would call and speak to a telemarketing agent or salesperson, and they would, sell them credibility, trust, et cetera, and pull the credit card over the phone. Well, eventually, internet marketing, online sales took off. Anyway, it was a huge success until 2008. And what I'm getting to here is 2008. By the time 2008 came around, I thought I was untouchable. I mean, I was, a top level executive at a big company. My wife and I owned other businesses on the side. I thought I was diversified enough to be, locked and loaded. Well, 2008 comes. The business I was in was related a lot to the mortgage industry. And that whole thing crashed and burned overnight in late 2008, 2009. I had to lay off 2,000 telemarketers. I got laid off myself. My businesses began to fail. No matter what I tried, no matter which way we tried them, they failed. I kept thinking, dude, I am smart. I'm good looking. Haha. I'm bilingual. I will bounce and I will land vertically somewhere else, but I could not. And before I knew it, I wasn't, I was continuing to live the same lifestyle with no income, assuming I'm going to bounce back. This is going to be a short-term hiccup. Well, no, a few years later, I'm completely running out of money. Until maybe 2010, I realized I've got one of my best sales years ever. I jokingly say today as I sold my home, my cars, my boat, my motorcycle, my furniture, my jewelry. I mean, it was a disaster. And start from the bottom. I mean, I had to move out of the city I was living in. I had to go to another town. I was practically homeless, living in a motel, and and with the victim mentality. And that's part of my story to tell you here. Life is a ongoing transformation. It's a circle of life. Often, decisions you make will eventually have some sort of consequence, good or bad, down the road. And I was in one of those bottom of the barrel situations where decisions I had made, the industry I was in, the businesses I was in, were all tied to essentially one particular industry niche. And when that dried up, I found myself drying up and feeling like the victim. Why me? Is it because I'm Latino? Is it because, looking for anybody to blame, looking to be the victim? And until I changed that mindset again and got back into the books and got back into, the books that motivated me, the Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar's, and other powerful motivational books that brought me back out of getting back to realizing I know how to do this. I know I've made money before. I can do it again. Um, I just have to do whatever it takes to do it, including, working a day, working at night on one job and working on the day to find another until I had jobs that would help pay the bills while I worked on starting a business again. And eventually we launched a travel company called thebookvip.com in late 2010, which turned into one of the fastest growing travel companies in North America, which eventually led to Marketing Boost today as well. And, I'm doing a heck of a lot better than I ever was back in 2008. So maybe it's all a blessing that because of what happened in 2008, I was forced to go reinvent myself and forced to start, become an entrepreneur again instead of staying comfortable in that corporate world that I was for 8 years. So, as far as transformations are concerned, sometimes things happen that really almost make you feel like you are a victim. You were dealt a bad set of cards. And just like in poker, you're not going to win every hand, so you've got to learn how to play the hand you're dealt, and that might mean a big losing streak for a while. And if that's what it is, then tighten the belt, get through the losing streak, and keep plowing down the road, knowing that if you have the right mental attitude and you continue to feed your mind with positive mental and who you associate yourself with is another big thing. If you're associating yourself with the right positive people, I mean, be honest with you, for a while, I had to separate myself from my wife, from my children. They were all very accustomed to a lifestyle that I had provided for years. And when I couldn't, nobody was doing well up with it for quite some time. And so by literally being separated for a while, it forced everybody to stand on their own 2 feet and forced everybody to wake up and get new wake up calls on what life expects of you and what's gonna, nobody deserves anything. In today's world, so many people have a mentality of what's the word I'm looking for? I deserve things to flow my way. You don't deserve anything. You're gonna have to earn it. But anyway, I'm back and thrilled to be back successful again and hopefully making the right decisions to not have another downturn. So
Thank you so much for that, Marco, and thank you for being so vulnerable. One of my questions, what was that thing, that characteristic, that trait, that motivation that propelled you from, let's say, when being down and when you lost everything and you decided, you know what, here is not for me. I have skills, I have the ability, I know how to make money. I'm going to do it. But what was that thing that pushed you and motivated you?
well, finding myself living in a motel in Hollywood, Florida, um, where you pay weekly. And remember, I told you I separated from the family and went down there, and that was the easiest place that would get you in without having to have first month, last month, third month deposits and get a regular rental. And I mean, I wasn't even in a position to do that. I was driving, the last car that I had left that was paid off. And, prior to that, I mean, 7 cars in the driveway, and I lived in the neighborhood not far down the street from Tiger Woods in an area called Windermere in Orlando, Florida. And so here I am again. I'm bottom of the barrel stuff, drinking a lot and so on, being in my mid or late 40s, going on 50, and wondering, however old I was. But it was like, why me? Why now? But what motivated me to get out of it was, in my case anyway, I've been there before. I I knew how to make money. At 19, I was opening my first fast food. At 20, I was opening my first Mexican food restaurant in a big mall in Puerto Rico. And at 22, I was opening a full service restaurant in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. At 23, I was opening a nightclub in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And years later, I mean, I knew that but at this time though, now when I'm rebuilding myself, reinventing myself, I have no capital. I have nothing except what's here. And so now it was a matter of going back to sales and going back to selling myself first. I was putting out resumes everywhere and nobody was biting. But finally, I had a bite, and now I had to go into a big company and sell myself as the marketing expert. And bam, that got me the day job. Still wasn't the best job, so I had to work at night as well. But, are you willing to burn the candle at both ends when needed to get back on your feet? Are you willing to live within your means? Meaning, okay, so I should have lived within my means a lot earlier on, back when I was before, while I was waiting for that other role to pop up, it never did. I should have been cutting back expenses dramatically and be rather than waiting until I was forced to. I should, there's a lot of decisions I could have made differently. But so that's part of my lesson to everybody is, you've got to live within your means. And when you do have a downturn, make sure you spend less along the way with it and make the hard decisions to cut back. That's happened to me in business as well, where I'll tell you, that's another story. But to answer your question, what motivated me back was I finally just kind of woke up one morning and was like, this is not me. I'm not a victim. When I came to this country from Puerto Rico, I grew up in Puerto Rico. When I came to this country from Puerto Rico, although I was born in Texas, Mexican descendants, grew up in Puerto Rico. But I came here, I'm like, I'm going to rock it in the United States. I'm bilingual. I'm smart. I can do anything I put my mind to. And I did. And, but here now it's not working out. The cards are going, one bad hand after the other, essentially. And until I'm dead broke, essentially. And now I realize I have nothing but me to count on, and nothing but me to put on paper what my resume is about, and nothing but me to sell it when I get in front of the opportunity strikes. I need to be able to sell it, and I need to be able to close the deal. And then from there, now I'm selling my services around the world, for that matter. That job I got me traveling around the world selling online the streaming technology before Netflix and so on. So it was a way to come back. But I guess, does that answer your question, Charming, on what motivated me to get back? And it didn't happen all by myself. I mean, I had to go back to basics. Like in my football coach used to say is, we got to go back to blocking and tackling. We're back to basics. And for me, that was okay. What does that mean for me? Let's open up the Zig Ziglar books on, the How to Win Friends and Influence People by Napoleon Hill, how to, Closing the Sale by Zig Ziglar, and on, the others that I was reading again to make sure my mindset was set right, that I am not a victim and I am whatever I set my mind to be at. It didn't happen overnight, but a couple of years later, I'm banging out. And once you have your mindset right, then the opportunities all of a sudden start flowing your way. And then you're ready and you know when to jump on them, when to pounce on them.
What can or how would you encourage someone to get their mindset right?
Well, for starters, be grateful for everything you have. When I didn't have anything, at that time, I'm living in a motel, worried about making enough money to pay the $300 rent that it was weekly or whatever it was. I had to be grateful that I could still go sit on the beach there in front of the little motel down the street. There was the beach, and I could take my guitar down to the beach and I could stroke a few I could, I'm still alive, and I still had a family, and I still had what it, to be. Once I finally started being grateful again that I'm still here, then it was okay. Now what? I'm grateful I'm here, and am I going to piss that away, or am I going to take my talents and start putting them to work again? And so that's that. Starts with being with gratitude. I still make a list every morning of what I'm grateful for. Um, Starting from the little things, that my cup of coffee in the morning, and the fact that I have a roof over my head, and of course now I have a lot more things to be grateful for, and financially secure, and things are all paid for cash, and no more credit stretched anywhere, and things of that nature that I can be grateful for. But that starts with gratitude, and then it's like, okay, how do you feed your mind to get rid of the victim mentality? Because if you let victim mentality come in, and I think there's too much of that in this country today, everything from um, uh, especially us black and brown people, excuse me for putting it that way, but we are told by way too many people in today's world that we're victims of society, we're victims of racism, we're victims of this, that, and the other. And it's easy to believe that. And if you do, then it will be true. If you believe you're a victim, then you will be, and you will be left behind. So if you believe you're a victim, well, count on it. You're going to be a victim, and you're going to stay that way, and you're never going to come out of your whatever hole you're in. The only way out of it is to say, I'm where I'm at is where I belong until I make some new decisions, until I take new actions. However rough that may sound to somebody, you're in a crappy place. Well, more than likely something you did along the way put you there. Not nobody caused it to you. It's things you did or did not do that have put you where you are today. So if you're going to change that, then start changing you first. Start changing how you look at life, how you look at opportunities, how you look at the people around you. And one of the first things you might do is change the people around you. Often the people around you that you're hanging out with, that you think are your buddies, are part of the problem that you need to change. So once you do that, things start changing.
That's such a great point too, because and I don't remember, it might have been Jim Rohn, it might have been Zig Ziglar, because I, like you, read and listen to all of that stuff, all the time. But they sort of talk about, you're going to be made up of the books you read and the people that you meet and come into your lives, and make sure what you're feeding your mind and your body and your soul is all good quality and will help to rise you up rather than pull you down.
Yeah, absolutely. I just met with some in a mastermind meeting on Friday of last week, and there was a billionaire there in the room who was on stage talking about a few things, and trying to remember if I still have it down right on what he said. But so he said there's three things that lead to success, to big successes, and he said some of it's luck. You got to be at the right place at the right time. Can you be at the right place at the right time? That means a combination of, could be luck, for example, going back to the poker analogy, being dealt the right cards, etc. But second, you need to know that you're in the right place at the right time. You need to be able to recognize that that opportunity is in front of you now. And then thirdly, you need to take massive action if you are in the right place at the right time. And in his case, we're talking about trends, business opportunities as they are coming your way. Can you recognize this is a trend that's the part of the future? Are you at the beginning stage of it when nobody recognizes it and nobody's going to participate in it? Or are you more in the middle where it's beginning to become acceptable idea and so forth? And if that's probably where you want to be, not necessarily the first adapter and an investment in something that nobody's like Bitcoin, and when it first launched, you could have been an investor in Bitcoin. And of course, if you'd hung on from the beginning till now, you'd be doing great, right?
Mhm.
But there was a time that you still could have got in, midway through, right? Or I mean, today, in many people's minds, today is still the perfect time, because some people say Bitcoin's going to, and the cryptocurrencies are going to be worth millions of dollars going down the road. But anyway, that's what the convention was all about. It was about cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology and what have you, and that we're really just now getting into the phase where it's the right place at the right time, and are you in a position to take massive action? So I'm still studying that. It's all new to me. I'm not no expert in cryptocurrencies, although I do have investments in that. But the whole blockchain thing is another whole scenario. But again, the key, what I liked about his message there, of all things, was be in the right place at the right time, which means you've got to surround yourself with people smarter and brighter than you. So that might lead you to be in the right place at the right time at some point in the future. Then, if you are in that right place and right time, can you recognize it because you are sharp and aware and you're following trends and you're reading everything from the newspapers to the following the whatever. And lastly, if you are in the right place in the right time, are you prepared to take massive, not just action, but if you wanted to really boost your career in a different way, you're ready to take massive action and put the work in, and things start happening.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Is there a time in your life, your career, be it in corporate or in entrepreneurship, where you had the right connections, was in the right place at the right time, where you recognize it, and what massive action did you take?
Great question. And that was a turning point for me from that 2008, 2009, 2010 disaster. Once I got back in the right mindset, got a marketing job and what have you, was doing well, back to making decent income, etc. Then some partners of mine, some people I knew from the industry I was in back in my heyday, 2000 to 2008, they were in similar situations, right? They were also recovering, also rebuilding. So me and three other buddies of mine, that we reached out, one of them was pulling us together. And none of us could have afforded, for example, to hire each other, but we had one of them, Andy was his name. Andy had an idea, and the other three of us essentially bought into it. And the four of us then were decided we were in the right place at the right time with the right mindset between us, and we each had different skill sets to bring this to life. And we decided to unite or work together and divide and conquer. And we launched our travel company that eventually was called bookvip.com, where we were again turned into the fastest growing travel company in North America. And I'll tell you the story of how Marketing Boost came from there. Book VIP, we were selling travel around the country and marketing resorts when we wanted video testimonials. And we just knew if we could only get more clients to send us a selfie video from the resort, pool, bar, beach, etc., and brag about the hotel and then brag about our brand, we would be able to leverage that into thousands of more sales. But if only we could get anybody to actually go that extra mile and film a selfie testimonial. So then we came up with an idea, and this business idea can still be used. I teach people this all the time today. And that is, we came up with an idea to solicit reviews in a slightly different way. What we did was we did a survey when we felt our client was going to be at their peak of happiness, which in our case was the day after they checked into the hotel, not when they bought the vacation. If we sent them a survey, hey, what do you think of, Book VIP the day they bought it? They're like, man, who knows, right? But if we waited until they actually checked into the hotel, that's when they're going to know if they're happy with us or not. So we did a survey. We sent them a text message and an email saying, hey, you just checked in yesterday. How's the hotel living up to your expectations? How's our service been so far? Can you give us a 1 to 5 rating of what do you think so far? And if they gave us a 1, 2, or 3, wow, we needed to know that. We needed to know what happened. We needed to jump on it. We needed to try to fix the problem, if at all. We needed to maybe stop promoting that particular hotel or property, whatever we could do to, fix the problem. But if they gave us a 4 or 5, well, those were the ones that we were asking to go the extra mile. So now we're like, would you do us a huge favor and help us spread the word about that hotel brand and ours? And if you go the extra mile of filming a selfie testimonial, a hotel review, and do a video review, we'll reward you with a complimentary 3-night hotel stay in Orlando or Las Vegas. Now we're going to be paying for those rooms in Orlando or Vegas out of our pocket. So we only expected to try to get maybe, 30, 40, 50 of these reviews that we could publish all over our website, our Facebook pages, our YouTube channels, etc. And we would, leverage those. But bam, this started working like a charm. Before we knew it, we were getting dozens of these reviews coming in and video reviews. We were putting them all over our website, leveraging them into, dozens and then hundreds of more sales. Then we had to turn the campaign off because it was like, well, geez, this is expensive. When these people start raising their hand to go to Orlando or Vegas, we're digging into our pockets to pay for these rooms. That's costing us a lot of money. But it sure would be nice if we could keep it going because these videos are powerful. Well, then we thought, what could we do? How could we provide these rooms and not cost us so much? So here's how Marketing Boost was born. If you don't mind me telling this story, we went to our hotel partners in Orlando, in Las Vegas. Mind you, we are a high volume travel company. So we went to these hotel partners in Orlando and Vegas, and we said, listen, let's be honest here. We came up with an idea that we think can help solve a problem that you have. And that is your hotels, let's be honest, they're never full year round. I mean, certainly you fill up on certain events, peak seasons, special events, or, conventions. But the majority of the year, you've got 30, 40, 50, maybe even 70% of your rooms sitting empty while you still have the same fixed costs, your mortgage payment, your insurance, your front desk staff, your maintenance crews, your landscaping crews. The only thing might change is how many maids are working that weekend or not. And so we convinced hotels to give us access to these empty rooms and either for free or at dramatically discounted rates, with us selling them on the idea that these folks are likely going to spend money at the restaurant, the bar, the casino, the gift shop, the excursion desk. They're going to upgrade room types. Maybe they'll book additional nights. They'll come back next year and pay full price because they, fell in love with your property and so on. And we had a few to agree. And now we could go back to offering Orlando and Vegas as a complimentary hotel stay with a video review. Well, that website before long today has over 30,000 video testimonials, more than any other travel website in the world. And then we thought to ourselves, we have Orlando and Vegas with complimentary hotel stays. Imagine if we could get more hotel partners all over the world to participate. We could turn that into another standalone business all by itself. And we set out to, when we first launched what was originally a different name, we called it Advertising Bait. When we first opened in 2017, we had about 6 destinations that we were offering complimentary hotel stays at. And the idea between Advertising Bait was you could use our incentives as your advertising bait, with the fishing idea to hook your clients in the door. And but then our strategy for growing the business was to use affiliate marketers to get others to tell the story for us. And they didn't like our name. They were like, we don't like bait in the name. Sounds like bait and switch. And so we were nimble. We listened to our affiliate marketers and we said, okay, that's, we hadn't thought of that. So we're like, we changed the name immediately to Advertising Boost. And we had that name for a couple of years. Where we're held to boost your advertising dollars and help you, generate more leads, close more sales, nurture more clients, wow your clients, reward your clients with perks and rewards and what have you. And then again, we listen to our members, and they're like, we realize most people today do not consider themselves advertisers. You don't have an advertising department, you have a marketing department, and they buy the advertising or what have you. But the people that we were after the marketers, the business owners that are trying to figure out how to market their business, whether that be with advertising or, organic or promotions or what have you. So we changed our name again a few years ago to Marketing Boost. We don't intend to change it ever again. We're doing quite well with Marketing Boost now. And, but that's been our name change story. And that's what's one thing that's good about being in business for yourself is you can be nimble and you can rebrand yourself if you have to.
You brought up a really interesting point, and it reminded me of another business that I was recently at that didn't listen to its customers and its staff. And, as you say, you have to be having your ear to what your audience wants. So there's a local restaurant that we go to, and we went there all the time, and it was always packed. And it was, like the little greasy spoon kind of thing. And it was breakfast and lunch, and they served breakfast all day. So the restaurant got sold, somebody bought it, and the new owners decided we're not going to serve breakfast after 12 o'clock. You can have breakfast up until 12, but at 12, it switches to lunch menu only, and they still close at 3 o'clock like they used to. Well, all of the regulars were always going there and ordering breakfast. And they kept saying to them, nope, you can't have breakfast after it. So we happened to go into this restaurant just last week. You could shoot a cannon off in there because, the new owners were like, nope, we only serve breakfast until noon. But all of their clientele wanted them to be serving breakfast all day. So literally everybody left. And it's really, I think you hit on such a key point, which is you have to be nimble and listen and adapt. And, you don't always make the changes that people suggest, but if you're hearing it over and over again, there's a reason.
Yeah. And if that reason, I mean, if you can change, if it's in your power to change that, I mean, there's some things my clients would love for me to change about Marketing Boost, make this, do, and I just can't with my business model. But if I can, then you got to, try to figure out how you can do it, right? Because that is exactly what can make a huge difference in your business if you're going to continue to succeed. So absolutely.
Can you give an example of sort of, because I think a lot of the listeners would like to hear this, is sort of some of the different ways in which you can use Marketing Boost to help somebody build their business? Because I know I've used it in my businesses, but, put it out there and give some people some ideas and get some of that creative juices going for people.
Well, let's say in your case, you're in the real estate business, correct?
Yes.
So, I'll talk about real estate first for a minute. I don't know if you're using them in these ways, but I'll give you some ideas here. For example, so we're talking about with Marketing Boost, we offer what I call again rewards, perks, and incentives to help entice your clients to either, as a loyalty program, to create a loyalty program and reward them for being with you. For example, even outside of the real estate world, this can be done in any business. For example, in today's world, we all use Zoom now. It's a lot easier to meet people on a Zoom call than it is to drive across town or across the country to meet with a prospect. So you want people booking on with you or with your sales team on a Zoom call. So you might offer a hotel savings card, one of our 3 categories of incentives. We offer, to make a long, to kind of tell the story here, we offer complimentary hotel stays in 130 destinations now around the world from 3 to 7 night stays. Now, they don't include airfare, and they don't include food and beverage, and they don't include government taxes and fees, of course. And so that's the disclaimers that we teach our members, that you would tell your client if you're giving them a complimentary hotel stay, then you need to at some point disclose, hey, I'm going to give you 5 nights in Cancun on us when you pay for 12 months in advance. When you hire me as your business coach, if you do pay for the 12 months in advance versus a monthly campaign, then I've got this special promotion right now. We can give you 5 nights in Cancun, Mexico on us at a luxury resort on the beach but it doesn't include airfare. It doesn't include food and beverage or the government taxes and fees. So you'll be on the hook on how you get there, and of course, buying your own food and beverage. But I've got your hotel stay covered. All it takes is, go ahead and pay for it 6 months in advance, 12 months in advance, whatever creative, whatever you're offering as your scarcity and urgency and the enhancing the call to action. So that's an idea. The other idea might be book a no obligation Zoom call with our staff so we can do a discovery call together and see if it's a good opportunity for us to work together. And just for joining the call and showing up on time for your appointment, we're going to reward you with a $200 hotel savings card that is good at over 1 million hotels worldwide. That'll save you on your next hotel booking versus what you would pay on Expedia or elsewhere. So I can give you the hotel savings card as, for example, booking a Zoom call or agreeing to meet my sales staff in home so we can talk to you about your solar system and or your new, your pool appointment. You want to build a pool. My guy's going to come out. They're going to draw up some ideas. They're going to give you a quote. If you and your wife are both home for our in-home presentation, we're going to reward you with a $500 hotel savings card just for keeping the appointment. You could have, well, let's go back to the real estate ideas. You could offer an incentive for setting up a home search. You might say, listen, if you work with me, whether you buy a home with me or not, I'm going to reward you with a $500 hotel savings card just for giving me the opportunity to help you find your perfect dream home. You might say, we'll offer an incentive for a buyer's consultation. This is your first time home. You haven't bought a home yet. Let's get together on a Zoom call. Let's go over your finances. Let's see if if we can get you a mortgage, or let's talk about that a little bit. And we know whether or not we end up doing business together, or me being your buyer's agent, I would, reward you with a $100 restaurant savings voucher or hotel savings card. Or I might do a webinar or a live event and say, hey, I've got door prizes. Come to the door, home buyers, first time home buyers event or what have you. And we're going to be doing this event, teaching you how to make sure you qualify and get into the home. Now that the interest rates are coming down, find out how you can get a home with the government help here, there, whatever it is your expertise is. And the door prize, somebody's going to win 3 nights in Las Vegas on us. And everybody who walks in the door is going to get a $50 restaurant savings voucher and so on. Another idea might be offering an incentive to attend an open house. I understand with the new real estate laws that if you get people into an open house, then you can claim the client even if they didn't have a buyer's agent and they came into your open house. Now you can claim that client as yours, so to speak, even if that listing isn't yours. So you could be doing, again, I'm no expert on the real estate business, and I'm not your lawyer here, so don't, but the idea being that you might do open houses on other people's listings, because now everybody coming in, you're going to register them as they check in to win 5 nights in Cancun getaway. And you're going to give everybody who registers a $100 hotel savings card for visiting the home that day. You're going to promote it that way across the internet, Facebook, etc. So now as people are coming in the door, you're getting them to click a QR code and register so that you're getting accurate information. They want the chance to win the grand prize. They want to get that instant gratification of a hotel or a restaurant savings voucher. And you're building a database. And now you can, if they buy that house, they're your client even though it wasn't your listing, or they become a client to show them other properties. Do you have a question there?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I mean, I think the big thing that you're saying is think outside of the box and look for ways in which you can provide extra value and create incentives for your clients to take the actions that you want them to take. So,
Exactly.
Marketing Boost is one example of, and you've got great products that you can do that, but everybody has within their businesses other things that they can also utilize. And it's that sort of stopping and brainstorming and trying to think outside of the box and look for opportunities. One of the things that drew me to using Marketing Boost was the fact that, it's a fixed cost for me, and I know what it's going to cost, and I'm not having to discount my services, because that's what a lot of businesses do in order to bring in clients, is they'll make a discount to their business. And it's like, no, can you make a transformation and find a way to provide extra value that is not necessarily going to cost your business a lot of money? And that's, one of the things that was appealing. Sherman, are there some other questions that you want to ask about sort of some of the, I don't know, just whatever additional questions that you want to ask Marco?
How can one become a part of Marketing Boost?
Great question. It's really easy. It's go to marketingboost.com, and we offer a 14-day free trial. We even have a version of Marketing Boost, a limited version of Marketing Boost you get for no credit card required, and you get 14-day sample account with the 6 of our 130 destinations that you can test a campaign with. Or you could put in a credit card and get full access to all categories of our incentives and still get a 14-day free trial. And then even if you keep the after 14 days, it's only $37 a month, which makes it your marketing secret. Marketing Boost is the secret of many a mastermind marketer, because like Mitzi was just saying, she knows her fixed cost is to be able to have access to these incentives that she can dwell out as much as she wants for a flat fee of $37 a month. Now she has the option of paying for some of these, if she wanted to do a grand prize and pay for the active, the taxes and fees that I mentioned, she could, if you sold a home and made a big profit, she could afford to say, yeah, I mean, I can pay the taxes and fees for this client from my commission and pay for their activation fee, for example. Or she might, here's another idea a lot of our clients use, whether they're insurance agents, realtors, multi-level marketer, I mean, you name it, you could support with Marketing Boost, you could support local fundraising drives or nonprofits. Let's say it's a local high school fundraising, they need new football gear for the team, and they're, need to try to come up with a way to raise some funds. Well, you might say, listen, my insurance agency, my real estate company, my whatever, would like to help sponsor the fundraiser. I'm going to donate 6 complimentary hotel stays that you guys can sell raffle tickets to. You can auction them off. You can give them as door prizes for people to come to the, the event. I can also throw in some restaurant savings cards and hotel and restaurant savings vouchers as door prizes to help get people in for example, for a live auction event. Now at the event, you might say to the organizer of the fundraiser, I do need to do one thing at the event. I do need to cover the disclaimers on how these incentives work. And I'd like at least, a couple of minutes to give everybody an elevator pitch on who I am and what we do. So now if you're the real estate agent, insurance agent, so you're at the football event, bunch of people, parents, everything, and you're going to say, hey, it has been our pleasure to support this great cause. I hope everybody, auctions or puts down some money at this auction for this great cause. If you do win the Cancun trip or the Las Vegas trip or the San Diego trip, they don't include airfare, they don't include food and beverage, and they don't include the government taxes and fees. But anything you pay to the auction, of course, is going for this great cause, and 100% of the money is going to them. I, by the way, am your local real estate expert. If you're buying, selling, investing, don't forget, look for Marco Torres Real Estate, or look for Marco Torres Plumbing, or look for Jane Doe, whatever you do. And now you're rubbing shoulders with philanthropists or what have you, and you're taking your sales hat off, and you're at a local event, and you're passing out business cards, and people are coming to you because you're setting yourself up as the expert and the authority without being salesy. And you're going to get leads flowing your way without, maybe without even trying. And it doesn't cost you a lot of money to sponsor that event, because these Marketing Boost incentives cost you $37 a month.
And that is exactly, actually, there's many charities, and that's what I do, that I donate, one of those trips and let them raffle it off or do door prizes or what have you, because as you say, it's a great way to incentivize it. And I created my own domain name, lovemyclients.info, and it points to my marketing boost because, as I say, it's something, I think that expresses what it is for me, is one of those things that I love. And you guys include a lot of training in there, which is also fabulous, like on business and mindset and all those additional things that we were talking about that are so important. There's a lot of back end training to help people with that mental transformation of their mindset and stuff that's so important. Can
Thank you.
you
Yeah.
give us with your sort of maybe top 2 or 3 key things that you would say to somebody if they're kind of struggling right now in their business or in their personal life? What are sort of those first 2 or 3 things that you would recommend that they do to start to shift out of that mentality?
Um, stop, stop watching, just wasting time watching the news or negative things going on. Start investing time. I mean, in today's world, you don't even have to buy the books. You can, you can get who knows what you can find on YouTube. There's all kinds of things on YouTube. There's all kinds of, uh, my podcast for that matter, the Marketing Boost Solutions podcast. In other words, go start motivating yourself by either reading, watching different YouTube channels, listening to other experts, um, and there's another book I like. I'm reading right now, Robin Sherman's Eight. Shoot, I got to find the book to get the title again, but it's a great book on how. Again, I go back to books. It's a great book on the wealth strategies that are not just money. So in order to make a lot of money, you also have to have your the rest of your lifestyle in place as well, and your priorities, and that makes sense. So that's what I would say to do, is start investing in you, and things will start going your way.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Marco. I know that our guests are going to pick up a lot of great pointers today to help them transform both personally and in their businesses. And we thank you very much for spending some time with us and helping people make that great transformation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, if you're an entrepreneur out there, go check out, one more plug, go check out marketingboost.com.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Transforming Lives Panel Podcast. We hope that you received some nuggets of wisdom and seeds to plant along your journey of transformation. If you enjoyed what you heard today, we encourage you to let us know and to share us with those that matter in your life. If you would like to connect with anyone from the panel or our guest speaker, you can find all of the ways to connect in our show notes. We have so much gratitude for you, and we are so thankful to be a part of your day. Until next time, take great care.